First and foremost, I just want to thank you all so much for taking the time to be here today. My name is Leon Bustos, and I am the director of a program that is responsible for overseeing our first year students. It's called the Highlands Undergraduate Enrichment Program. And what I really love most about this program is that its main focus is on our first year students. I am an alumnus of New Mexico Highlands University. I graduated with my bachelor's in 2012, and I finished up my master's in 2016. I've been a part of the NMHU psychology faculty, and I served as the interim director of this program for about a year and a half, and I've been happily serving as the director since July. And this has been a life-changing experience for me. And it didn't start in my career. It started during my first year in college. And what was so important during that first year was the connections that I was able to make. As a New Mexico resident, I fell in line with what the standards of New Mexico is as far as education. We're under preparing our students. I had an identity crisis when I came to New Mexico Highlands. I had this idea that I was not good enough to be in higher education. I remember a story, I could talk to you all about stories as far as what I was told as a student in high school, middle school, and elementary, being compared to my older sister, being told that I wasn't good enough, being told that I was never going to amount to anything. And those were really, really difficult times for me, especially as I was growing into a student. But again, it was that first year that changed my life. And what involved that included opportunities to work in collaboration with others. For other individuals like myself, for individuals like Ms. Linda Palas, who I see is on screen, for individuals like Ronaldo Maestas, for individuals like Luisa Pacheco, Dr. Spence, Daniel Ulabri, all of our incredible faculty and staff at New Mexico Highlands who changed my life and my trajectory as I navigated my first year. It was that first year and it was the connections that I made that set me up on a path to academic and social success. I was able to create these networks that will continue on, right, uh, for the rest of my life. And it has been a generational shift. As a first generation student, I've made my family proud, and I continue to do so by making differences in our students' lives. And I want to thank Julie so much, Julie Salmon, for having me here today so we can have these discussions. So I'll talk a little bit about my first year experience in more detail. We have Ronaldo Maestas, who's also going to join us in talking about his experiences in New Mexico Highlands. But before we do that, I'm going to do a little plug-in because I think it's really important. This was a project that originally I pitched to, oh, where did I go? I see everyone. Is someone sharing their screen? Okay, something changed there. I apologize. Um, I am going to do a little plug-in. If you have not had an opportunity to see this yet, uh, I'm going to put it in our group chat. This is a video project that I worked with the alumni office on, and originally it was developed for our first year students. So if I have any first year students here, please give it a look. It gives a detailed history of some of the buildings in Las Vegas, New Mexico, along with some spooky experiences. So please give it a look. Um, so without further ado, I'm going to introduce Ronaldo Maestas. Ronaldo has become a really good friend of mine over the past academic year. I really enjoyed going out and having social drinks with him. When the pandemic opened up, when we were able to actually go and socialize, he was one of the first people that I saw in person. And I apologize, Ronaldo, if I felt a little awkward. I hadn't seen anyone in a while. So I will let Ronaldo introduce himself, let him know what his role, let everyone know what your role is at New Mexico Highlands University, and then I'll start posing some questions to you.
Sure. Well, thank you, Leon. Touche, definitely. I'm so glad we were able to connect and get together recently. But hello, everyone. My name is Reynaldo Maestas, and I'm currently the director for the Center for professional development and career readiness, aka career services. But I am a Highlands alum. I graduated in 2006 with my bachelor's in marketing with a minor in Spanish. And then I went straight into my MBA in general management here at the university. A little bit about me. I'm from the area. I'm from Rociaba, New Mexico. It's a little bit out of town, about 27 miles up in northern New Mexico. Grew up on a ranch. So when I graduated high school, I was actually on a rodeo scholarship. And then I finished that up and transferred back to New Mexico Highlands University, where I finished my degrees. Um, Leon, you asked earlier, what kind of music you want to start listening to, get into. So, of course, I was the first to jump on that one. For those of you who might not know, I'm actually a mariachi recording artist. So I have two CDs that I recorded with New Mexico's premier mariachi, Mariachi Tenampa. And what I'm really excited about to say is in 2006, I had my second CD release here at Ilfield Auditorium with Mariachi Mujer 2000 from Los Angeles, the all-female group. They came in to accompany me for the CD release and do a concert. And it was amazing. I see Dr. Kravitz is on here. I was part of the immersion program down to Oaxaca one summer, and I got to see Mexico City and Teotihuacan, climbed the pyramids, and we went all to some different areas. So I'm so excited to have had all these experiences, and I think that's what I really want to talk about now is those experiences. Um, in less than 2 hours, I will be on vacation, and I'm going to go meet friends that I made in college here at New Mexico Highlands University. Um, and we've been best friends ever since we met here. And that's something that, I know it's kind of hard right now, especially in our current climate and what we're going through, the social aspect. But when you're able and safely get out and socialize, join clubs, join organizations, that was probably one of the best things that I could have done. For those of you who know, I'm a very social person. So going out and about and really making all these connections was something that I just adored. So that was important because not only did I make those connections and they're lifelong friendships now, but that support while we were going through school together was something that really translated as well. We would do study sessions together. We'd go to professors' office hours together, to make sure that we knew and were getting the help that we needed. And it was so nice because that's the one thing that you just need to do here at Highlands. Everyone wants you to succeed, but you need to put forth the effort. There are so many resources for everyone to be successful. Just seek them out. A lot of times, people will say, well, I didn't know. That's okay, but ask. You definitely need to ask. So my time at New Mexico Highlands was great. I'm going to go back to 2006 when I graduated with my bachelor's degree. And I was dead set on moving to Albuquerque. Got to get out. And that's okay too. I do want to reiterate that it's good to get out. It's good to get away because you can always come back. And that's what I've done. But in 2006, I wanted to work for the National Hispanic Cultural Center, specifically in the performing arts sector. And that didn't work out. And I was told that there was a student recruiter position available here at the university. And it's not so much the position that enticed me, but it was the fact that they told me once you're an employee, you actually get what's called tuition remission and you can take classes and they're paid for it. So I said, well, why not do that? I said, that's great. I don't have to, accrue any student debt. I get to get my master's paid for while I'm working for the university. And I did that. So it took me 2 years, but I was a full-time graduate student and then working full-time. But what really resonated with me was as a student recruiter, I was in charge of the Northeast quadrant of New Mexico. So I was in charge of going out to all these different high schools, community colleges, and really recruiting students to attend. What I didn't realize was when I was out in these schools, and a majority of them, of course, were underserved, underrepresented, in talking with students, they didn't realize or think that a college education was attainable. And for me, it was something new because I'm not a first generation student. My parents both went to college and they kind of instilled that in me that an education was going to take me places. So I didn't understand what was going on here. So my first interactions with first generation students started in 2006. And it was having that conversation to let them know that, yes, actually, a college education is attainable and they can get one. They just needed the help. And when I say needed the help, just with the application, counselors are so overwhelmed in these different high schools, they couldn't give them the one on one attention they needed. So I literally would sit with them and do an application for admission with them. I would obtain their transcripts, of course, come back, bring all that information, um, and then kind of just mentor them as to what to expect because they didn't know, and neither did their parents. And one thing that I realized and learned is not only are you recruiting the student, if they're a first generation student, you're recruiting the parent as well. Because something that's very important is this is their child who they're entrusting with you to help them out. You've got to gain that trust. And if something goes wrong, they're going to call you. And you're their resource, you're their point person. And it was nice because I can't tell you to date how many students, especially first generation, Hispanic students too, that I've helped over my 15 years in higher education. And I think that's what New Mexico Highlands is for the Northeast quadrant of the state of New Mexico. It's that opportunity, it's that chance for students to go to school who otherwise thought they couldn't.
Ronaldo, that is amazing. So you did mention something that I think is very important, and that's this level of student athleticism that we have at New Mexico Highlands University. And you were very fortunate to be a part of the rodeo team when we had it. Could you reflect a little bit upon what it was like to be part of the rodeo team?
So actually, I wasn't part of the rodeo team here at Highlands. I was part of the rodeo team at another school, but I helped bring that rodeo team onto campus. I was part of that group that helped bring that. But my brother did. My brother did. He was part of the NMHU rodeo team. But I can just talk about an experience being on a rodeo team and the connections that are made there, um, and how you have to work as a team together to accomplish a goal. And what's really important about that is the camaraderie that you are able to instill in one another and a competitiveness. But what is really nice about that is that you get to see different places while representing the university. You get all these different experiences. And with that comes what you can build to after college. You can connect with these people and say, hey, remember we rodeo together, and you stay in touch. They're going to be doing, it's all about building that network. And to this date, I'm still in touch with multiple people from my rodeo days on a different capacity level, whether it's just a friendship level or a professional level. It doesn't matter, but it's about instilling that sense of camaraderie and the competitiveness that is fun and everyone can be a part of.
All right, Ronaldo, I got a few more questions for you.
Sure.
Can you go back in reflection of your years at Highlands? Could you reflect back specifically on your first year? Maybe talk about a specific memory that you can think of that really stood out to you. Maybe it's social, or maybe it's academic, or maybe there's a professional piece involved in that.
Sure. Absolutely. I remember I was taking a sociology course, and they split the room into two sides. And we had to argue a point. And part of that was we looked over, some were for this proposition, and then the other half of the room was against the proposition. And we had to argue this each side. And I remember one of the students that was in the class was opposite of me, and her and I didn't know each other, and we were both the lead for our teams in the discussion we were having. So we were arguing both sides of it, and it got a little heated. Even though we knew it was kind of for fun, it kind of got a little heated. And I remember that our first impression was, I don't like that person. She didn't like me either. and and then we ended up, of course, we went through the rest of the class, but then a semester later, we had another class together. And when we got into that class, I didn't know anyone else in the class, and neither did she. So we both kind of looked at each other because we're like, well, we remember each other. And we ended up sitting by each other and we talked about how passionate we were about what we were talking about. And to this day, we're lifelong friends because we've kept in touch and we went through our collegiate experience together.
Okay, I know I have one more. If you can go back with all of the years of experience you've acquired since your first year, you could go back and see your freshman self. What advice would you give that person?
Good question. For me personally, I would, and I was involved, but I think I'd want to get involved even more and seek out different things that I know maybe I'm uncomfortable with because I don't know, and actually put myself out there a little more and and just get well rounded and well versed. I think especially in your first year, you kind of go with what you know. It's hard stepping out of your comfort zone. That's what I would encourage students to do. Step out of that comfort zone and do something that you normally think you wouldn't do because you'll be surprised. There's other students that are probably in your same situation and you guys can connect and network in that way.
That's great. So you would say network as much as possible. Try to increase your overall footprints with individuals. That's great. But thank you.
Right.
I remember my first day. It's actually kind of a funny story. My first day of college, I had a 8 o'clock speech class, and I remember coming in. I was like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna be early. It was really early, so I'm waiting there in my car, and of course, being me, I was an 18-year-old kid. It's like, oh, there there are pretty girls in college. I remember saying that, and I have this terrifying fear of bees because my window's down. So as that group passed by, where I was like, oh, maybe I am going to enjoy college. This bee enters my door in through the window, and I remember I just paused, got out, and then it followed me back out, and then I got back in, and then it came back, and I remember I sat next to that one girl that I thought was pretty in my speech class, and she was just like, "What was going on with you outside?" And I just said, "I was exercising." I didn't want to tell her I was afraid of bees. That's one of my favorite stories. It's one of my favorite stories. So thank you, Ronaldo. I actually have so can you all give me 1 second? I have an individual, actually he's a distinguished alum. He's being recognized this year, asking for me to send him the link. So can you all give me 1 minute? But in the meantime, as I send this link on over, I'm going to pick on a couple of people in the audience that I see here today. A future alumni and two really important people in my life.
Yes.
I'm going to pick on Mr. Daniel Ulibarri and Linda Palos. And I'm going to ask you two to also reflect on your first year in college. Oh, and tell me a little bit about yourself. So we'll start with Daniel Ulibarri, and then Linda, we'll go to you next.
Hi, yeah, I'm Daniel Ulibarri. I'm a senior at Highlands Media Arts and English major, double major. And I've been working for the First Experience program for like 3 years, I'd say. So working with Leon since he first got in. Yeah, my first semester was super interesting. I'd say I didn't plan on going to college until probably a couple weeks before I graduated high school. I kind of just applied to Highlands to, I guess, because that's what is the logical next step. but it really helped me find everything that I hold dear about myself currently. It led me to a passion for photo and video that I'm trying to push as much as I possibly can. Um, it gave me a sense of community and a sense of appreciation for Vegas, the town I was born in and grew up in, that I probably would never have had if I didn't go to Highlands. I've made some of the most important relationships to me. Some of my dearest friends, like Miss Linda over here. Pleasure to be her coworker for a while, a good friend. Yeah, it's been really great for self discovery too. If I could advise myself, freshman Daniel, I would just be, I would actually have him get out. He got out a lot, tried to network, but I would do that even more. I think networking, just like Ronaldo said, is one of the most important things, especially doing like freelance type creative work like I do. All of the best gigs that I've had have come from knowing people, or, just introducing yourself and putting yourself out there. And I'm still working on that and getting better at that, but it's done wonders. And having Leon as a mentor for a couple of years has done wondrous things for that. He's really showed me, given me a lot of opportunities to show myself that I have a lot of skill and a lot of things to be proud of. So yeah, I mean, Highlands has done a lot for me for sure.
I'm so proud of you, Daniel. And I want to say how much experience I've received from you. It's reciprocated 100-fold, because I've been able to see you grow and develop professionally. And I really think that you have such a bright future ahead of you. And I know that you've been a very appropriate mentor to our first year students. So thank you for being here today and taking these questions.
Yeah.
So Ms. Palos, if you can also introduce yourself and just talk a little bit about your first year at New Mexico Highlands.
So let's see here. So I had a different experience with Highlands, because my first year, I was actually a office assistant for Hugh. So therefore, anytime that I had to be at an event, I would get my first time freshmen like, hey, let's come with me to go to this event. So it's like I was working with them. So therefore, I had that opportunity to network with everyone. And I've also had the pleasure of having Leon as my professor for that year. So I've known Leon for as much as I've been a freshman, almost 4 years now. So for me, I'm a first generation from my family. My dad's from Mexico and my mom's from here in New Mexico. So I had the pleasure of being the first one to come to college and almost graduate, knock on wood, in May. But I've had the pleasure of like being able to network in like the Las Vegas community, but also here at campus. With the part of me being able to be the assistant for our office, it gave me a lot of leeway to get to know who is in this office, who I need to talk to for this, or who I need to the paperwork for this department. So therefore, like my first year, it was kind of easier for me to network because I was a part of the office. So therefore, I got to know who was where, who needed what. So whenever Leon came into this position, we were able to talk to each other and like, hey, like, okay, where do I need to get this? I was like, okay, Leon, don't worry, I got you.
Linda trained me on how to do my job, basically. So I thank you so much, Linda.
And so more than anything, like being a part of the Hugh program has made me grow from the time I was in freshman to the time I am now. I have grown tremendously with the network. I've worked with Highlands, just meeting new people, being able to have like that connection. I do remember Daniel. I remember one story that I do remember with Daniel is that he left his bag at the sub. And I remember for some reason I knew his bag and I was like, I know this individual. Don't worry, like we'll leave it here at the office. I'll message him. And then here comes Daniel, come gain his bag. He's like, I don't know how I left it there. Thank you for reminding me. That's just one of like the moments of many moments I've had with our office and with Highlands.
I think that happened more than once too. I think it happened like 3 times that you found my bag in different spots around campus, like a guardian angel, man. The only reason I didn't lose my laptop.
Daniel, you're notorious for leaving your stuff around.
Yeah, a little absent-minded, but.
Well, Linda, in the same way, I'm very proud of Daniel. I'm very, very proud of you, and I wouldn't be able to do my job if it wasn't for the two of you. So thank you so much for everything that you've done for me and for our students. So we have a very special individual here today. Uh, Isaac Sandoval is the owner and proprietor of the Skillet in Las Vegas, New Mexico, and he actually has been recognized as the distinguished young alumnus, along with his wife, Shauna Sandoval, for this year. And I asked Mr. Sandoval if he would be here today, and he agreed to. And I will say that me and Isaac have a really strong working relationship, along with a very strong social bond and friendship. And I am very honored to have him not only be someone that I can work in collaboration with, but someone who I can look forward to spending time with personally. So I have Isaac Sandoval here with us today. And I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit, let the audience know who you are, and then I'll pose some questions to you, Isaac. Video. Oh, hold up. You're good.
Are we on now? Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Sorry, I'm not used to doing any Zoom because my work is still in real life. So anyway, I graduated from Highlands in 2010 with a fine arts major. Starting at Highlands, actually, like, it's kind of thinking about it now, like I was doing concurrent enrollment classes my senior year. Almost the whole year I was doing like, you know, a couple of classes. I think I had like a full semester or a little more than a full semester coming into my freshman year as an undergraduate. So, but I think that really helped me decide to come to Highlands, you know, like, okay, the classes are manageable, like they're like the sizes, and you know, I could get around. I kind of already had an idea of how like accessible Highlands would be coming into, you know, the first year, which was really good. And then I had already like kind of, you know, because I was concurrent, they let me just take classes, you know, like it seems like at Highlands, at least in my experience, it was really easy to like make schedules and classes work for the student, for each individual. And so like, you know, a lot of the prereqs I was able to at least like come back around to later on as like so like I took like drawing 1 as a high school senior at Highlands, which, you know, it really said, oh, hey, cool. I could do this art major thing here. I didn't even know it existed until, you know, I started taking classes. So. And then, you know, I went and got my master's degree at Fort Hays State after that in sculpture. And then Sean and I moved back and built the food truck, and we've been running that. And then it turned into a restaurant and bar, and here we are now. So.
Thank you. So Isaac, if you could think about this, even if it may take a couple of seconds to think about it, can you think of one specific memory that you had at Highlands that kind of stands out above the rest? Maybe like a really fun academic experience, some type of social relationship that you may have had, or some type of professional development that may have happened while you were here?
Specific memory, I don't know, man. Like that, there's. I don't know. I mean, just like basically floating around the dorms, hanging out, you know, well, Highlands has studios for fine arts majors, upperclassmen. And so we were just always working in there. We had access all the time to just make art. And man, I met so many visiting artists where at a lot of schools, it's not really possible to have like direct contact with these people that are doing really interesting and exciting projects and, you know, works. And you can like sit there and talk to them because the just how Highlands is, you know, how the class sizes were and the access really that Highlands allows for, you know.
So I have
and they're
go ahead.
Do you remember those? Does anyone remember Club HU?
Oh my God.
And
Don't even bring that up. Who
we
remembers
always
Club HU?
we always called it Club FU, and we just like, man, we would go. Everyone would go. It's so weird. It's such a weird thing. Like it's like underage people that can't really go out yet, and the communities are so small. So it's like a weird house party with like no alcohol or anything, but like crazy reggaeton or whatever was playing. Like so funny. It's just like. So, and you think about all these people that they're in your periphery, and like people that like they're not in your program, but like them. Like now, like there's people like I'm like, oh my God, I've known this person for years now, and I remember them grinding up on the like the little tile thing where the plants are, in
the Stu Clark building. Oh my God.
Yeah.
When I was taking dual credit courses at West, I was 17 years old, and I got a student ID, and I would go to those.
Yeah, you could as like a high schooler. Yeah.
Oh God.
I don't do that anymore.
Like you should bring back Club HU.
Well,
maybe
there's a lot of different. I mean, this sounds crazy, but like there wasn't like a skillet back then. Like I think about that a lot. It's like, well, people were always looking for something going on, and like, what could we do that, whether it's partying or just extracurricular in the community, where are the students going, especially the ones that aren't from here? Because it's like, I think Highlands does a really good job trying to be inclusive with the community and everything. But I think sometimes, how do you reach everyone, So.
Yeah. All right, Isaac. So now I'm going to have a follow-up question to what you just said. And that is, how important is it for you as a business owner and as an alumnus of this institution to give back to the institution that has set you up? Because I know that you work really close in collaboration to this institution. So what does Highlands mean to you in an aspect of operating a business?
How does Highlands what?
So how important, or when you established your business, the Skillet, was there any type of motivation in establishing it here or in that area that you're at, because it is in close proximity to
Highlands? Well, I think working coming back to Vegas, we saw the need for something different, whether it's a space for people in the community or the university or whatever, or different types of like food to engage the people. So like, I think, and like I moved back to Vegas and Shauna moved back to Vegas because we want to be close to family. And there's a lot of space here in Las Vegas to do what we wanted to do, is like make art in some way, shape, or form. Whereas in the city, like we were living in St. Louis for a little bit, and it was like really difficult to find space and find work that's like close and really it's easy here in Vegas to be able to move around. And so that it just kind of all happened. And then like giving back and being working with Highlands like is just so important to me. I'm really proud about like getting my degree from Highlands, and like proud of the university as it is, and like just how it really opened up doors for me. It sounds crazy. It's crazy, right? To say like, oh, this really opened up doors for me. And I was able to make new connections with people, or find new opportunities, or learn new skills that I never thought I could be able to do. Right. And so it was huge for me, and I'm proud of that. So I feel like as being part of the community, I think it's important to support that. And I mean, Highlands has supported our business since the day we opened, having student faculty events. Dr. Minner really works with us and brings us along to do some events for him. And I mean, the foundations, we work with them all the time, and, they're always coming to us and like for parties, and, like the event coming up on Saturday. I mean, Julie, thank you so much for nominating Shauna and myself for the award, actually. Like, I mean, so it's a team a team effort, I think, in a community like this to really just, you know, we want Vegas to succeed, but in order for that to happen, Highlands has to really succeed, and the businesses have to like just work together, and it's got to be one fluid motion. So,
all right, Isaac. Well, I have one more question for you, and I think this is one of the most important questions that I've been asking today. If you could go back to your freshman year, what advice would you give to yourself?
take like 3 more semesters. Cause like once you get out, like that's it. and you're just gonna be working forever. So I mean, if you can afford it and if it makes sense, man, take another semester. No, I don't know. I don't know what else I would say. I guess take it more seriously because you get so like it's just overexposure, you know, and so I guess take it more seriously, and just be open to what's going on around you, because there's so many opportunities at Highlands for really anything, or you know, any sort of situation like this. It's like there's so much that you can do, so many people that you can meet that are here in Vegas, you know, which is it's so crazy. It's wonderful.
So enjoy the experiences that you have.
Yeah, just take the time.
Cool.
Go slower. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Isaac, so much for being here today. I really do appreciate you. I know that you're a busy man, and I'm looking forward to what you are able to bring to the drive-in on Saturday. So thank you for your dedication to the institution and for always being a contributing member to our community in Las Vegas.
Well, thanks for having me, and it's gonna be fun on Saturday. We have a crazy menu plan, so it's gonna be cool. Yeah. All right, thanks.
All righty, so everybody, I just want to bring back what was discussed today and kind of wrap it around some of the experiences that I've had at Highlands. Ronaldo mentioned networking. Ronaldo mentioned developing and establishing long-term relationships with people who he's going to see and visit this weekend. These are connections that will last a lifetime. Mr. Ulibarri and Ms. Palos have been able to gain valuable experiences while they were students here at Highlands, and I've been able to see them grow from very young adults to very mature mid-adults. I'll put you in the mid-adult range. And I again, don't think I could see myself in this role if it wasn't for the two of you and the experiences that you've brought to me and our students. And of course, Isaac Sandoval talking about how he believes that the city has a lot to offer, this town has a lot to offer to students, and the fact that he's come back and he's able to provide a service to not only our residents in Las Vegas, but our community at Highlands as well. I know it's a really big hotspot. A lot of students really enjoy the aesthetics of the restaurant, and everyone really enjoys Isaac's amazing and creative demeanor. And I will say that every single thing that you mentioned today was also incorporated into experiences that I had at Highlands. As a sophomore student, after I was able to avoid this identity crisis, I was able to start producing research. I was able to present this research at national conferences. I established close mentorships with graduate students, and they were able to provide me with a better sense of who I was and where I was going in college. I fell in love with the study of psychology. It became a part of who I am. And to this day, I am very, very grateful for every single experience that I had, the goods and the bads. Don't get me wrong, I've had my fair share of partying. I've had my fair shares of social relationships, breakups, heartaches. But those were what tempered me into the man I am today. And I was able to continue on, get a master's degree, and work for this incredible institution. And it was that first year that changed my life. And I hope that the conversations that we had today with some of our distinguished alum, some of our future alum, and myself will be able to inspire our freshman students as they navigate the intricacies of higher education And as they learn for themselves how fun, but also how challenging Highlands can be. But know that there are networks of support to assist you along the path, and that I will take this personal promise to assist you in any way that we can to ensure your academic success, because I had that coming to Highlands, and I think that you deserve it as well. So with that being said, we have about 18 minutes. If anyone has any questions, I believe that Daniel Ulibarri, Ms. Palos is here as well. I'm not sure, Isaac may still be around, and Ronaldo is here. So if there's any questions that you have for any of us, we would be more than happy to take any of those questions.
Leon Spence put a question in the chat.
Let's see. How do incoming students become participants in this program? So Harrison, all first year students, I shouldn't say all, some advanced standing students coming in with an abundance of dual credit courses may not fall in line with learning communities. So they may have already, maybe they're a psychology student, they've already taken a psychology class, so it doesn't really fit in with their schedule. We'll put them in an independent first year experience seminar course, but sometimes it gets really difficult because it doesn't mesh well with their upper division schedule. So majority of our first year freshmen will participate in our first year experience by default. So all incoming freshmen most incoming freshmen by default are in our program. And even if they're not, we still reach out to them and we host co-curricular activities. We invite them as part of the first year experience. And it's also open to our sophomores, juniors, and seniors as well. Any other questions? Do we have any other alumni in the house, by the way? I know Spence, you're an alumni.
How about students, first year students? If you guys can, on the reactions, just put a thumbs up if you're a first year student. Let's see what the screen looks like.
Well, I'll send them a recording. Great. This has been great. I believe, thank you. All right, well, everybody, if you don't have any questions, I will say thank you again to our guests today. Thank you so much for being here and listening to what we had to share. And if you could do me a favor, at any point, if you are an individual who works for this institution, or if you're an alumni of this institution and you're working with a young individual who's considering coming to Highlands, let them know that there's a network of people who care about them and who will do everything in their power to ensure their academic, social, and personal success. And if it wasn't for people like Ronaldo, if it wasn't for people like Isaac, Harrison, myself, if I would have gone to UNM, I would have been lost. Highlands saved my life, and I am hoping that I can provide a service to students in that same capacity. So thank you, and have a great day. I'll stick around if anyone has any questions.
Thank you, Leon.